Hey guys, and welcome back to Higurashi no Nakokoro ni Onikakushi. This is Teacher your Gamer Girl, signing on. So, in the last episode, I believe we, started with the Watanagashi festival. And we played some games, and actually met up with, Tomitake, the photographer. So, let's continue on, shall we? As we continued walking through the festival with Mion in the front, now we looked... we continued walking through the festival with Mion in the front. Now we looked like a family of 6. It had some intensity to it. Same rules as always. The loser will, of course, be subject to a penalty. Tomitake-san was a bit surprised, but to us it was just the same as always. Regardless of how terrible a penalty it was. Just don't lose! Nana was also brimming with determination. She didn't have any intention of losing. That's true. I tussled? I don't know. Rena's hair to lighten the mood. She giggled to hide her embarrassment. I see. This is what it means to feel like a kid again. Tomitake-san whispered that to nobody in particular. At the moment, we heard an old man call out in a strong voice. Looking over, I realized it was the man Mion had greeted right before the festival. You're here. Little Miss Sonozaki seems you brought quite the crowd. We came to eradicate your entire stall. His stall was a shooting gallery. It was the usual setup where you had to knock down the prize you wanted with a cock gun. Cork gun. The rules are simple. 3 shots. The winner is whoever gets the biggest prize. Everyone shouted their agreement. There was no need to consider how to win, since the condition for victory was simply size. The biggest prize at the stall went without question. It was that one, wasn't it? Whoa! That teddy bear! Cute! Nana was gazing longingly at a large stuffed animal. It was intentionally placed on an unsteady platform, so it was possible to get it if you hit the right spot. It's magnificently set up to make you think that. Not bad, Keiichi-san. I figured you would see through the scam instantly. The most logical course of action would be to aim for some candy or a doll. The intent analysis had already begun. In this club, you'll get eaten alive if you don't come prepared. Everything hinges on what you can come up with before the main event. At some point, a large crowd had gathered around us, making a big fuss. There was this much of a following for our club's infamous event? You'd be surprised. Knocking that bear down and sure is a win. Only 3 shots. To use them all just trying, that'd be rough. Hey, I have other customers waiting, you know. Who's up first? The first one to take advantage of being able to aim for the easier prizes. But it's dangerous to compete without knowing the gun's quirks. Tomitake-san's take on the situation was pretty good. He gets what our club is about! Well then, to be fair, how about using rock, paper, scissors to decide? How about it? That's really the only way. Rock, paper, scissors! After a couple of matches, it ended up with Mion being first. I didn't want to end up first. Oh well, I'll just think of it as a handicap. Gramps! Gun! Here you go! When the shooting range guy handed her a rifle, Mion looked it over intently. She didn't forget to check the cork bullet either. Okay, this gun is brand new, isn't it? No faults. Not bad. Mion raised the gun in one swift motion. It was completely different from her careful inspection. She was shooting from the hip. Fire! Reload! Fire! Reload! Fire! flop. Flop, flop. 3 candy boxes fell, one after the other. A big haul. The crowd paused in a moment of awe, then erupted in cheers. Whoa, awesome! That was quite good! Tomitaki-san was at a loss for words after seeing such shooting prowess. Amazing, Mi-chan! 3! Her accuracy was incredible. Her choice of targets wasn't bad either. The 3 Mion had gone after were fairly large and pretty easy to knock over. They were all targets with a high return on its investment. Who's up next? Satoko? Careful, the bullets are light. Next was Satoko. The rifle looked a bit big for her lids, the body. Is that actually a word? I'm pretty sure they meant to put little, but who knows. But it didn't seem like she had any problem with the weight. Of course, I shall aim for the grand prize! She proclaimed that she was going after the teddy bear. Damn, Satoko. Such a bold move. The moment she knocks it over, she's guaranteed to be in first. Good luck, Satoko-chan. Satoko was the opposite of Mion. She aimed for the target quite carefully and squeezed the trigger. Ah, these bullets are too light. The first 2 bullets struck the bear in the torso, but only shifted a bit. You need to aim higher towards the head or it won't work. Satoko's 3rd bullet wasn't aimed at the bear, but at the candy box below its arm. I hate to say it, but it appears the bear is just too much for me. She went boldly after the big catch, but since she switched over to the less impressive prey at the last second, the crowd only gave her a strained laugh. Were they laughing because she lacked the courage? These fools know nothing. A fine attempt, Satoko. You've gotten better. The palm of Mion's outstretched hand went poof as it tapped down lightly on Satoko. She appeared to just be talking hot air, but this was actually completely calculated. Damn that Satoko! Just to avoid being in last place, she dared switch over to an easy target. Without shame or honor. Magnificent. I'll allow you to take the bear, Lena-san. I pray for your victory. Okay. Thanks so much, Satoko-chan. You sounded so cute. Lena was up next. She couldn't hit the broadside of a barn as regular Lena, but she said that bear was cute. I wonder how Lena-chan will do. I hope she's able to hit at least one. You underestimate Lena, Tomitaki-san. It's Lena, you know? It's Lena Ryugu, you know? If it was to get that teddy bear, whoa! Tomitaki-san wheeled around to see what all the commotion spectators were making what about. If it was to get that bear, she'd be able to shoot through a pinhole. The one known as Lena Ryugu could do it. It's shaking. Lena couldn't hide her excitement over the bear's now slow rocking. Now Lena couldn't lose. Not bad, Lena-san. The less collected you become, the stronger you get. Whoa! Another big cheer. Lena's bullet hit the bear's forehead again. Not enough. The bear seemed to wobble more than before. But it might not be possible. You never know. With Lena-chan's skill, it might be. While Tomitaki was just as excited as the crowd, Rika-chan's analysis was not swayed by emotion. If Lena had 10 more shots, then she could surely knock it over. But with just one more, no matter how you looked at it, no go. The crone let out a dejected groan. She had shot it right in the forehead 3 times. It was a bit late, but they gave her a good round of applause for the attempt. She should be praised for her valor, but she had no trophies to show for it. Then, at that moment, the old man flicked one of the candy boxes with his finger and handed it to Lena. This is for you, you little lady. Huh? You're giving this to me? Gods won't forgive me if I let you go home empty-handed after such a display. There was another shower of applause. Lena turned bright red and I pulled her back over to us by her hand. You did a good job. Your keyboard really surprised me. I really wanted Mr. Bear. It was easy to see that it only needed a little more to be knocked over. Lena had done quite a lot for me. Still need to pay her back for that delicious picnic. Alright, then I'll get it and give it to you. What? Tomitake-san has stolen the words right out of my mouth. Okay. Please, Tomitake-san. Good luck. Damn you, old man Tomitake! Stealing the good parts for yourself! A small hand stretched over and felt gently on my head before I was overcome with frustration. You keep on fighting too, Keiichi, okay? Tomitake-san carefully studied the bear. Seeing his sights, he shouldered the rifle while holding the other 2 shots in his hand. Why is he doing that? Yes, no doubt. Tomitake-san is aiming for... The time between shots was short. It was meaningless to shoot again once it stopped shaking. So, Tomitake-san was relying on rapid fire to win the battle. It was visibly wobbling much more than it ever had before. That was all. Still didn't fall over. Too bad. All of Lena's momentary expectation from watching it sway violently poured into a dejected sigh. Really thought it would work. It seems that since you're a man, you will not be receiving any candy. That was it. It meant Tomitake-san had no spoils of war. Suppose Kei-chan and Nika-chan can just shoot down a small, easy prize and avoid being dead last. Avoid being the loser, huh? Oh, sorry about that. It's your turn next, Keiichi-kun. Best of luck. I was the 5th shooter. I took the rifle from Tomitake-san. If I took the ruthless route, as Mion had suggested, then I'd go for a small target. Except, when I picked up the rifle, I definitely got a feeling from it. It was burning passion, passed down to me by Tomitake-san. The regret of not being man enough to fell the bear that Lena wanted. Yes, that's right. If I didn't aim for the bear, then I wouldn't be a man. After all, that was my promise to Lena. Huh? What promise? What? To shoot down that bear, then give it to Lena. That one. You mean? The crowd went wild when they saw our conversation. Woo! Cool, Oni-chan! You got balls, man! That's not it, sighed men of the crowd. If I didn't do this, then Nana might mug the old man running the stall on his way home. No, that's not it at all. Why can't I just express my honest feelings? Keiichi-san surely talks the talk. But how do you actually intend to bring down the bear? Nana and Tomitake-san's shots did make it tilt a bit, but I think the finishing job will be difficult. Keiichi-kun! If only there was some way to shoot faster, I'd be able to pile more power on the sway from each hit. Good luck, Keiichi-kun! After taking 2 deep breaths, I shouted over to the guy. 2 more rifles. Huh? The crowd murmured amongst themselves. I wonder what Keiichi-san's up to. One person can't handle 3 rifles at once? I get it. Nice thinking, Kei-chan. Mion was able to figure it out magnificently. Basically, what was taking the most time was reloading the shot. That's right! Then, by putting 3 preloaded rifles next to each other, Tomitake-san went silent, peering at me and the bear through his lens. His photographer's blood predicted a miracle will occur. And then the crowd finally picked up on what I was planning. They let out a great cheer. They chanted my name, Keiichi! Rapid fire is the key. If I miss, all is for naught. Phew. After letting out a deep breath, I paused. Relax. Now! That moment, it felt like time itself had stopped. I felt like I could see the trajectory of the bullets. Hit it. And knock it down! The first shot hit the bear on its head. The second. The third! The bear swayed hard. And then... The cheers began before the stuffed animal even finished falling off the shelf. The guy caught it before it hit the ground and tossed it over to me. You actually knocked it over! You got me! Amazing! Congratulations, Keiichi-kun! Keiichi-san has finally learned how to use his head! I see you in a slightly better light now! I didn't do it all by myself. Everyone hit it and those small bits together brought it down. This trophy belongs to all of us! Right. This is from all of us working together. Me didn't hit it a single time. After holding up the teddy bear like it was a championship trophy, I handed it to Lena. Here. This is from me. No, from everyone. Thanks for always making your delicious lunches. Nena, thinking she was never actually going to get it, was momentarily speechless. I can't, Keiichi-kun. This is everyone's after all. In that case, I was the one that knocked it down. And it's mine. It's mine, so I'm giving it to Nena. I pushed the stuffed animal towards her again. This time, she embraced and accepted it. You've watched out for me ever since I moved here, after all. I'm really grateful, you see. Thanks a lot. Keiichi-kun! Thanks so much! Nena did something! Oh. Nena kissed me? Mion told me a few days later that Nena kissed me, but I didn't realize it during all the excitement at the time. I remembered what I was trying to say to Tomitaki-san earlier. There really isn't much of anything here. But there are lots of things you can't find anywhere else. I gained a lot from coming to Hinamizawa. Especially at that moment. The crowd's cheers echoed on and on. From the altar set up in front of the shrine, the drums sounded with a booming echo. It was the finale of the festival. I'll be going off ahead then. Uh-oh. I need to go and get myself a good spot too. Well then, everyone, see you in a bit. Both Rika-chan and Tomitaki-san gave their farewells and disappeared into the crowd. I wish both of you the best in your endeavors! Now, shall we be off? Yeah, might as well go see Rika-chan's charming figure. Let's go! Yeah! Huh? Where's Enna? What are you doing? Keiichi-kun! Mi-chan! Save me! Since she was carrying such a ridiculously large stuffed animal, she was being carried by the flow of the people. What is she doing? She must have her hands full in taking care of that bear. So I'll leave Rena in your care, Kei-chan. I have my hands full taking care of Satoko. Who would want to be looked after by you, Mion-san? Ow! Please don't pull my arm! Before losing sight of Mion, I grabbed the back of Rena's collar. Keiichi-kun, not there! Don't grab me there! What's so bossy? What can I grab then? I didn't feel ashamed at all. Lena was ashamed enough for the both of us. I grabbed onto Rena's hand and dashed after Mion and the others. We're gonna be late. Let's hurry up. Yeah! I hadn't realized Rena's hand was so delicate. Maybe she needed a bit more exercise and nutrition? But that wasn't what I meant. Not at all. My ears burned. I tried to keep calm I repeated the phrase, "Keep it together, Keiichi," in my head, but it didn't look like I'd be able to anytime soon. I really didn't want Anna to see my face right then, so I pushed onwards, dragging her along without even looking back once. There was already a huge group of people gathered at the altar in front of the shrine. The fire at the altar made it as bright as midday and just as hot. There was a pile of futons warded with sanctified robe in front of the altar. Come to think of it, they did say it was a festival where they did something with the cotton and futons. Keiichi-san! Nana-san! We're over here! Satoko waved her hand from the front row. Sorry. Making our way through the mass of people, we reached the spot they'd saved. How was it? Were you able to have a little bit of excitement with Anna? You punk. So that's what your plan was. Instead of replying, Mion gave us a perverse... Of course it was. How was it, Anna? Was Kei-chan's hand bigger than you thought it would be? Then I turned bright red and puffs of steam shooting out of her. What happened? Did she punch Mion again? I heard something slice through the air and turned around to see Mion's face on the ground with a welt on her face. Mion, when were you hit? Between the ha and of her how you think? Anna, it's not good to punch her friends to hide your embarrassment. I didn't hit her. Whatever. Thump! The thunderous beat of the drum echoed, silencing the crowd. You must all be quiet! It's beginning! It was a solemn ritual. Rika-chan entered dressed as a shrine maiden, followed by members of the municipal committee. The elders all looked at Rika-chan and clasped their hands in praise. The only thing allowed to disturb the profound silence was the flash from Tomitaki-san's camera. What's the big thing Rika-chan is holding? A hoe that's used for the festival. It's a sacred farming tool that only the shrine maiden may touch. It was an awkward shape of peace farming equipment, not uncommon for something used in rituals. After reciting a Shinto prayer, Rika-chan approached the pile of futons gathered at the altar. She swung the hoe skillfully, plowing it into the futons. Each and every little movement of this performance probably had to be done in a certain way. Without a doubt, this was a ritual. What's next? Airing out the futons? She's purifying the futons that absorbed illnesses from people over the winter. So when Kei-chan said airing out the futons, he wasn't completely wrong. Rika-chan's face was already dripping with sweat. That hoe was probably really heavy. She staggered side to side with the momentum of each swing. Satsuko looked on, silently lending her support. Worried. Rika practiced every single day with that mochi hammer. She will certainly prevail. Satsuko's hands were sweaty, and whenever Rika-chan started to sway a little, she held her breath. Why wasn't Mion a candidate to be the shrine maiden? It feels wrong having Rika-chan swing around something so heavy. I'd do it if they asked me, you know. And, well, it's not something just anyone could do. That's true. Shrine maidens need to be pure, after all. Mion drove her elbow into my... You were asking for that one, Keiichi! With the thud of the big drum, Rika-chan gave a solemn bow and descended from the altar. That triggered a round of generous applause. After the Shinto priests had raised up their cleansed futons like a portable altar, all the spectators stood up. Following after the priests, we all marched on at a moderate pace. They descended the shrine's giant stairs in a line. What's happening now? Washing the futons in the river? Watanagashi means setting cotton adrift, you know? The procession continued right up to the bank of the stream. A fire was stoked high, and it was bright as day here, too. People started crowding around and clamoring. Alright, get in line. Line up, Keiichi-kun. I wondered what was up. Maybe we could get some holy wine? Or red and white bean buns? It's not food. I said it was cotton. Ah, but of course. They didn't call it the Watanagashi for nothing. I finally understood. The municipal committee members pulled out the cotton from inside the futons and balled it up like mochi, handing it out to people. Then I dove into the line and brought out some for me as well. We then proceeded to the bank of the stream. Since it's your first time, Keiichi-kun, just copy what I do. She held the cotton in her right hand, and waving her hand as if to purify it, she touched it to her forehead, chest, navel, and both thighs. You do this 3 times, and silently give thanks to Oyashiro-sama. Oyashiro-sama? What's that, the name of the shrine's god? Yes, it's the guardian deity of Hinamizawa. It brings about both miracles and curses, so you must be sure to show respect. That sounded like a pretty frightening god. But, well, when in Rome, I was officially a resident of Hinamizawa now, after all. Doing as Rena showed me, I touched the cotton over myself 3 times. Thank you, Oyashiro-sama. Thank you, Oyashiro-sama. Thank you, Oyashiro-sama. So thank you on that one. This way, all the evil that possesses you is sucked out by the cotton. Oh boy. Then you let it gently drift away on the stream, and you're done. Together, Rena and I set our pieces of cotton afloat on the surface of the water. The flowers of cotton blooming in the water had sucked out all the evil festering in Hinamizawa and drifted off, disappearing into the distance. How much you want to bet it did the opposite? Like, oh my god, anyone that knows this series from either reading the original release of this novel or the anime, you know something messed up. It was wonderful, like those floating lantern festivals I'd seen on TV. The best part, though, was feeling like this rite of passage had made me a true resident of Hinamizawa. I thought that was the end of the chapter. While staring off into the stream, I somehow got separated from Lena. I wasn't very lonely, though. I know this place now. This is where I live. My home. It's probably better if I just stay here instead of wandering around aimlessly. Someone would surely find me while I was enjoying the evening breeze. I heard a familiar voice. It was Tomitake-san's. I headed towards it. How did it go, Tomitake-san? Were you able to get some good shots? Yeah, fortunately. Tomitake-san was with a girl. I felt a little like I was intruding. How was it, Keiichi-kun? Did you enjoy the festival? From the way she spoke, it seemed like she was a resident of Hinamizawa. I really should try harder to remember people's faces here. What was her name? Well, it was fun. My face must have given away how desperately I was trying to remember her name, because she gave a lighthearted chuckle. It's probably because it hasn't been long since you moved here. It's pretty hard to believe, seeing how friendly you've gotten with the other kids. That's how it looked, then it was probably all thanks to Rena and Mion. Perhaps you feel more like a resident of Hinamizawa after taking part in the festival today? I wonder about that. Oh, that's not like you. I tried to get used to Hinamizawa, but there was still plenty of things I didn't know. The faces of people I'd met, for example. Things that happened in the past as well. Oh, you're feeling left out because of something like that? It's not so much as feeling left out. It's just, I'm not sure how to say it. That incident at the damn construction site. The fighting over it and other conflicts. That terrible incident they pretended they didn't even know about whenever I brought it up. Even though it was in the past, as someone living in Hinamizawa, it wasn't wrong to want to know about both the good and bad that happened here. If it'll put you at ease, then I'll tell you everything I know. Tomitake-san's smile made me more relieved than I'd ever been. It was hard to think of what to ask when someone said, "Ask me anything, though." Even when there was so much I wanted to ask. Then, could you tell me about what happened when the dam was being constructed? There was a big incident where Hinamizawa was going to be submerged, right? I think the locals would be more knowledgeable about the dam than I am. Well, if you don't mind, I'll tell you what I know. It's only what I've read in the newspaper, though. Tomitake-san's eyes entered an unfocused gaze as he searched through his memory. Then he spoke. The decision to start the dam project was finalized 7 or 8 years ago. I heard it was the next major project after Kurobe. There were 3 major issues in Japan at that time. Improving inter-island transportation infrastructure, meeting the higher demand for electricity, and flood control. There was a boom of dam building due to the massive economic stimulus they provided on top of generating electricity and flood control. Hinamizawa had the right conditions to support dam constructions, so it was singled out. The dam reservoir would have covered quite a lot of ground when it was completed. The entire area, right up to Yagoichi, way upstream, would be underwater. But why did they have to pick a populated area like Hinamizawa? Couldn't they have instead picked a place where nobody lived? I'm not really sure why, but I heard that it was just the right terrain for building a dam. Of course, there were protests here in Hinamizawa. Rika-chan said that there was a battle. From that choice of words, I had to guess things had turned violent. There was a trial, and it was even brought up before the national diet. It was covered in the Tokyo newspapers too. Mion had told me about that as well. I'm sure every resident of Hinamizawa had united to fight together. The feeling of solidarity found here, which could not be expressed properly with mere words, was likely brought about by that battle. As a result, bribery and scandals were brought to light. As things got more and more complicated, they eventually halted construction. If I wanted to know more, if I wanted to know, now is my only chance to ask. It was certainly a bizarre incident that boys my age would be curious about. I felt a little shamed from the fact that I was petty enough to have my curiosity piqued by Rena and Mion's refusal to talk about the event. But I figured I might as well ask since I had the chance. Just so I would stop thinking about it so much. So, there was a dismemberment, right? There was. I happened to be there. I happened to be here in Hinamizawa at the time, so I remember it well. Tomitake-san's answer was nonchalant, in contrast to my hesitantly forced out question. It was about this time, 4 years ago. It was the day of the Watanagashi, if I recall correctly. Debate on whether to continue construction on the dam was in disarray. Scandal after scandal rocked the project near the end. The incident that was the final nail in the coffin for the dam project. A fight at the dam construction site ended in the victim being murdered. Fearing prosecution, the 6 assailants divided the remains into 6 pieces and each hit 1. 5 of the 6 criminals turned themselves in out of guilt, but 1 was still on the run. The right arm he'd hidden away had yet to be found. The major details lined up with what was in the tabloid I'd read earlier. It certainly was a tragic incident, but it wasn't so terrible that Nana and Mion needed to hide it from me. I guess they didn't want someone who just moved here to have a negative impression of Hinamizawa. I felt grateful for having friends who worried so much about me, as well as shame for still being so interested in it. It was near the end of all the trouble with the dam, you see. So everyone was saying that it was Oyashiro-sama's curse. Oyashiro-sama's curse, huh? Oyashiro-sama was the name of God at the shrine that held the festival today, if I recalled correctly. I see. The guardian deity rained divine punishment down on the evil dam construction for trying to flood Hinamizawa. Apparently, the younger ones didn't think so. But it seems the elderly in the village never doubted that it was Oyashiro-sama's curse. The woman with Tomitake-san said with a mischievous chuckle. Tomitake-san began laughing with her. It was so infectious I ended up laughing as well. But I wonder about now. There are quite a few, I think, amongst the youth too. A few what? People who believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse. The woman's lips were still curled up into a smile, but her expression turned stern. Then, after that, it continued every year. Always around this time. Continued? What continued? Tomitake-san paused for a second, as if to build up some suspense. Then he whispered to me as if someone might have been listening. Every year, on the day of the Watanagashi, somebody dies. The year following the dismemberment, on the day of the Watanagashi, a man from Hinamizawa who had supported the dam fell off a cliff overlooking some rapids and died while he was on vacation. Unfortunately for his wife, the body was never recovered. He supported the dam construction even though he lived in Hinamizawa? At the time, there were whispers among the elderly saying it was Oyashiro-sama's curse. The woman chuckled mischievously again. The next year, the night of the Watanagashi, the shrine's Shinto priest died suddenly from an unknown illness. His wife drowned herself in the bog that night. The shrine's Shinto priest? You mean he was from the shrine here? The woman nodded. There was a rumor amongst the villagers that they weren't able to quell Oyashiro-sama's anger. Then, the year after that, again on the night of Watanagashi, they discovered the battered body of a local housewife. Housewife? Up until now, all these mysterious deaths were people involved with the dam or in connection with Oyashiro-sama. With that in mind, could the housewife have been involved in some way too? Exactly, the woman stated slyly. No, it was more menacingly. One of the victim's relatives, you see, was connected to the younger brother of the dam supporter who fell to his death 2 years before. The younger brother is still alive, it seems. But it did bother him quite a bit, so he moved to the neighboring town. For a while, I stood there with my mouth agape. The battle over the dam construction, with Hinamizawa's future at stake, and the murder at the center of it all, that was all I knew, and that was all I wanted to ask about. That wasn't all there was to the story. Homicide, body disposal, accidental deaths, terminal illness, suicide, fatal beatings. I'm a pretty level-headed person. I don't really want to believe in curses. But the freakish deaths happened every year on the day of the Watanagashi, and all of them related to the dam construction. It was easy to dismiss each of them as coincidences by themselves. But when you put them all together, dismissing all of them as coincidence would then defy logic. I don't believe in curses, but every single year on the day of the Watanagashi, somebody or something makes it happen without fail. The woman chuckled again as if she picked up on what I was thinking. It felt like she was saying, maybe there was, maybe we frightened him, stuff like that. I felt embarrassed being read so easily. I pressed Tomitake-san to continue, a bit of impatience and irritation in my tone. Then, so someone died the next year, right? Who was it that time? I wonder, who do you think, Keiichi-kun? The hell? The way he said it didn't agree with me. The sarcastic tone ticked me off. Don't avoid the question, I'm serious here! Hey, calm down, Keiichi-kun. I realized she tried to calm me down that I had been panicking. We aren't trying to avoid the question, Keiichi-kun. It's just, when you say the next year, that's today. When she hesitated to say it, Tomitake-san finished for her. I broke into a cold sweat. I really didn't like the direction this was headed. Nobody wants to speak of it, but they all think it's going to happen again tonight. The festival was so cheerful, though. Well, the victim last year, the housewife, she was a non-believer. It turns out she didn't even attend the Watanagashi festival. There was a rumor going around that if you didn't participate in the festival, you would incur Oyashiro-sama's wrath. Didn't you hear anything about this, Keiichi-kun? I'd never even heard a whisper of that rumor. Then the reason everyone was at the festival was they were afraid of the curse? I figured that must have been the reason. There were a lot more people at the Watanagashi than usual. I guess everyone was just afraid after all of Oyashiro-sama's curse. I couldn't utter a single word. In this modern age, where we've made progress in all scientific fields, shining light on the unknown and misunderstood, where black and white television has been eradicated, and we've sent men to the moon. Even with all of our accomplishments, this can exist in modern society? Tons of invitations were sent out to neighboring towers to youth groups to help pad the numbers. But after that string of events, few decided to join. The municipal committee members were complaining about how hard it was to gather participants. Also, the police are treating each case as isolated. They don't believe they're connected. They're trying to keep it quiet, so it was all plainclothes officers. It finally began to dawn on me why Rena and Mion were reluctant to talk. If nothing happened during this Watanagashi, everything would have been over, and I'd be none the wiser. If nothing happened, all would be well. In that case, it would all end up being just crazy talk. I should have just pretended like I knew nothing from the beginning. Then they wouldn't have had to act like nothing happened. And we would have all gone back to life as usual. Maybe it was just too much for him after all. The woman ran her fingers through her hair as she sighed. No, it wasn't. Not at all. I tried to act strong, but that just served to emphasize how much the information had unsettled me. After seeing how I looked, Tomitake-san appeared to regret saying anything. Laying out a sigh, he then spoke, forcing an awkward upbeat demeanor. Keiichi-kun, surely you don't believe in such things as curses. Well, no. If the causes of all the crimes were unknown with the perpetrators and their methods all mysteries, then I would think it's the work of curse. But that's not how things are in reality. The police are investigating the evidence and suspects to uncover the truth. Hearing him say police made me feel a lot better. It was perfect for repelling the word curse. The first one, the dismemberment, for example. I told you, didn't I? All but one of the perpetrators were arrested. It's only a matter of time before the last one. The motive turned out to have been an argument they had while intoxicated. That's no curse. Don't you agree? That was true. If it didn't happen on the day of the Watanagashi, then I wouldn't think it was related to the curse at all. The accidental death of the man who supported the dam is the same. He was in a position that made others hate him. The police made a point of investigating from that angle. They concluded it was an accident, not foul play. But they both happened on the day of the festival, right? Just think about it, Keiichi-kun. Do you think people with a lot of enemies here in Hinamizawa could participate easily in a local festival? It would be especially hard for them to be around during the Watanagashi. So they probably left Hinamizawa intentionally around this time of year to travel, don't you think? It wasn't a very clear explanation, but I sort of understood what Tomitake was getting at. So I pressed on earnestly, asking more questions so I could convince myself. Then, Tomitake-san, what about the priest who died after that? The one with the unknown illness? That also happened on the day of the festival. It's even easier to explain what happened to the Shinto priest. The Watanagashi is a really big event that happens once a year. It was probably from all the built-up stress. Or it may have been because of a pre-existing condition. But it was an unknown illness. It's hard to believe something with an unknown cause could exist with all our advances in medicine. It's just an exaggeration. Rumors making rumors. Anyone would get worked up over happiness, and it's happened 2 years in a row. A sudden death is quite unnatural, though. Of course, the police ordered an autopsy because of the strange way he died. There wasn't enough for them to open a full investigation, you know? Turns out it was just a sudden death due to illness. The priest's wife committing suicide, correct? What about that? I believe I already explained that. Everyone was shaken up by the incidents happening for a third year. Those who are of strong faith were quick to believe it was the work of the curse. Of course, that included the priest's wife. Apparently, they found a suicide note that said something like, "My death will quell Oyashiro-sama's anger." Well then, how about the next incident with the housewife? That happened on the day of the Watanagashi too. The perpetrator has already been caught and the case has been closed. Turns out it was just some nut job trying to continue the legacy of the Hinamizawa curse. Then, how about the incident the next year? Oh yeah, this year's next year. Tomitake-san gave a hearty laugh. Nothing will happen, not this year. There was never a curse to begin with. Oh boy, are we about to be proven wrong, I think. Like, I have many theories as to why the hell this happened, but considering I have never seen the answers, I don't know. They're just theories. It's just that a group of people believed it was the explanation for a string of coincidences. My eternal computer finally got itself back on track. I felt a bit embarrassed by how childish I'd become after losing control and panicking. I can see very clearly now that Keiichi-kun really does love Hinamizawa, even if Oyashiro-sama's curse actually did exist. Keiichi-kun couldn't bring himself to believe that such a thing existed. I felt very relieved. I should probably just forget everything I heard tonight. I'll greet Vena and Mion tomorrow with the same smile as always. They'd probably also like to end without incident. They'd probably also like tonight to end without incident, so they can continue on tomorrow without having worried me. Perhaps seeing my change in attitude, the woman who had been listening in stretched as she got up from the rock she was sitting on. Well then, I should be getting back. Goodness, I think I may have gone on a bit too long. There were so few people compared to the crowd from before. I could only make out a few groups of families enjoying the cool evening air. I looked at my watch. It seemed like we talked for the better part of an hour. Didn't you come along with your friends, Keiichi-kun? Not going to look for them? Oh, yeah. They might all be looking for me. You're quite the scoundrel making the girls look for you. See you, Keiichi-kun. Have a nice night. You too, Jiro-san. I'll see you a bit later. Tomitake-san seems to be quite the scoundrel himself, so his name is Jiro. After just enough for her backside, she disappeared into the crowds of people still busy cleaning up the shrine grounds. Keiichi-kun! So sorry! In her place, Nana came running over. I could see all the others behind her. Speak of the devil. My bad, Kei-chan. I hope we got so caught up in our discussion. I'd completely forgotten about them while caught up in my own conversation, so we were even. My, so Tomitake-san was with you. This works out perfectly. We still need to settle the shooting gallery competition. That's right. So I guess I'm gonna end up dead last. Oh boy. Oh. Man. I'm gonna end the episode here. In the next episode, we're gonna continue this, obviously. So, until then, this is the Gamer Girl, signing off. Bye bye.